Hey guys, Evans here. I know I'm coming in pretty late tonight, but I figured it's better to come in late or shoot something in the daytime. And so until we add our new admin to our staff, I have to work a little bit earlier. So since I'm going in around 7 o'clock in the morning to knock everything out, I want to show you how I prep for the next day. And this is great for those who have early mornings, where you don't have the time in the morning to really start cooking and prepping and everything else. So you got to do it the night before. So we always talk about the Sunday routine, and then it's important to either have a morning routine or a night routine. So this would be the night routine, very similar to my morning routine. So what I'm going to make is Dana's lunch. So I'm going to do kind of some sauteed spinach with some Brussels sprouts and some chicken and some green beans mixed in there. So let me just grab this component. And then I'll make mine. Mine is very similar, except for I have a little bit more fat in my diet going on. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what's this concept of metabolic damage. And the idea behind metabolic damage is, you know, we always talk about your metabolism is adjustable. So upregulate to accommodate overeating. So it will speed up actually when you overeat for longer periods of times. And you'll probably gain weight until your metabolism catches up and then you stop gaining weight. So it did speed up. And then if for those who've dieted or cut their calories severely, your metabolism just slows down to accommodate for the lesser calories as well. So, you know, metabolic damage is something that happens. Typically, it takes a little bit. So one stroke of dieting will, for most people, not destroy their metabolism. But over the years, many of us, especially as we start aging, have tried a lot of different attempts at getting in shape. You know, so you see it all the time. Someone, they either reduce a macronutrient, like they'll cut out the protein out of their diet, or they'll cut out the fat out of their diet, or they'll cut the carbs, and they don't compensate it with anything else from a caloric standpoint. So their calories drop, and I mean sometimes the caloric drop is anywhere from 500 to 1,000, 1,500 calories less. You know, you figure you go on a green smoothie cleanse. I mean, what are you getting in? 400 calories to 800 calories in a day? And it's such a low caloric intake that over time you start feeling sluggish. So before I really dial into what's happening, let's talk about some of the symptoms. So some symptoms you may feel is that you fatigue a little bit more, or your skin is kind of dull, you know, in there. Your nails break really often, your hair falls out or thins out, your energy decreases, and your desire to do things throughout the course of the day drops as well. So even if you were not the most active person, you desire to be active even less. So these are all signs that, hey, my metabolism is really beginning to slow down. Even sometimes the ability to focus on different tasks will decrease as well along the way. So these are like symptoms of what we call metabolic damage, meaning you've damaged your metabolism. And it's not uncommon. You know, throwing some onions in here. I'm going to saute those down. It's actually very common, just because, you know, anywhere, and we can blame a lot of different things in society. That's not my job, you know, to kind of say, hey, you know, it was the food companies, it was the drug companies, it was the parents, it was the children. That's not my deal. The reality is we've been exposed to so many different things today that's caused our society to struggle with weight. So we have some scallions, or green pepper, or green onions, some bell peppers, some fresh parsley, all in this. So we're just gonna let this down. What's beautiful about this cooking is not only does it create great flavor, I always talk about we eat with our eyes, it creates great color as well. So whoever the cause, whoever the culprit, we reach this point now where our there's this disproportionate layout of how many calories I should burn throughout the course of the day and how many calories I actually do burn. So, and I talk about this a lot where I say, you know, the calculators don't work. So you get a MyFitnessPal account and it says, hey, you should be burning, you know, 2,500 calories to lose weight. And you decide, hey, I want to start losing weight. And you're eating 2,500 calories and you're gaining weight. Or if you're a female, that number may be 15, 18, 16 just different variables based on age, activity level, and everything else, and weight loss may be a challenge. So, so that's what the metabolic damage is that your body just down-regulates, and it's actually really, really healthy, because not just from an energy output standpoint, your systems in your body slow down. So you realize that bowel movements will slow down, where you may be regular before and it's going down to, every other day or once a day or once a week. I mean, we've had clients once every 2 weeks, just kind of, based on that, your immune system decreases. So you find yourself picking up a little bit more, colds and things like that throughout the course of the year than was normal, because your body just doesn't have the resources available to defend you against the attacks in the environment. We're also going to chop up some Brussels sprouts and put them in here. So she's just going to have like a nice green vegetable medley, so to speak, with her chicken breast. So, how do we fix it? So one of the biggest things is when you go into your diet initially, don't make rash changes. It's the minor changes that get you big results. So I'll give you an example. I decided I wanted to cut weight, and the first thing you always do, you start with, what is my body fat percentage? Because the scale doesn't really give you a good clue. I've been working out consistently, eating fairly consistently, and my weight's kind of stayed around 200 pounds. Now yesterday I did go in because I knew I was going to start my meal plan today. So I ate more than enough chocolate chip cookies and gained some water weight. If you overeat in one day, typically you're not going to gain fat. You're just going to retain more fluid. If you drink enough fluid, then you'll start dropping weight right back. So, the first thing I did was I took my body fat first thing in the morning, and my body fat came in, I thought it was going to be a little higher. It came in at 11% body fat. So then from my body fat percentage, it tells me how much of my body is fat versus not fat. So I have like 23 pounds of fat on my body. And if I was to lose this 10 pounds, then I'd be around 8% body fat. So that's where you start with your goals, to say, okay, based on where I want to be, how much should I realistically lose? It tells me that over the last couple of months, I've actually gained some muscle. So now some of that lean mass number is really water weight. So I wouldn't be shocked if, next Monday when I take my body fat again, I lost a little bit of lean mass, because lean mass is everything that's not fat. So anyway, so I decided that I'm going to start off with like a ketogenic diet, and I'll rotate through, so I'm not anti any particular diet. I'm just anti that diet as a lifestyle. So if I'm going to do a lifestyle, I need to have my carbs, I need to have my proteins, and I need to have my fats. So for about 2 weeks, I'll do a ketogenic type diet, meaning very low carbs, moderate protein, and higher fat diet. I know just for experience that I metabolize fat fairly well, so I know that can help me as well. Now when I drop my carbs down, I'm going to lose some water weight, so I'm going to be mindful of that, and I watch how does my lean mass adjust over the next couple of days or the next week. Now, what a lot of people do wrong with when they switch into like an Atkins type diet or things like that is they count the carbs, which is great, but they don't count the fat or the protein. So they just drop their calories dramatically. They lose weight because their calories are a lot lower, and as soon as they put the carbs and calories back in, they puff up. So it's really important that no matter what manipulation you make, and you'll see, like after I finish this 2 weeks, I'm actually going to bump up my carbs quite a bit, and I'm going to go into like a moderately high carb diet, even on the proteins and the fats, and I'll rock that out for another week or two, and then I'll do some other fun stuff and just play around with my body and my macros, all keeping my calories relatively the same. So as you're looking to cut calories, the amount of calories that most people need to cut is somewhere between 150 to 200 calories. I'm not making massive calorie cuts at the time. I am gonna, add a little bit of cardio in, but the key is not to add cardio and cut calories at the same time either. So just have a nice little mix. So just so you guys can see what this little veggie medley looks like. Actually looks really good, and the reason why I'm not adding a bunch of seasonings too is because the the onions, the peppers, the parsley all have great flavor, and I don't want to take that away. I already pre-measured this earlier when I was cooking my dinner. So this is about 3.7 ounces of chicken. So I'll just dice that up and put it in here, and Dana's meal is done. So mine is very similar, except for I have some mayo in mine. I'm gonna add some sriracha sauce to the mayo and mix it in there. So as a school teacher, she needs her food to be convenient and easy to consume. So I figured even if this was at room temperature, it should come out really good. So anyway, so that's a big thing. So I'm not going to cut my calories. My caloric intake is about 2460 or 2500 calories. So I'll stay there and watch to see what my body does for about 2 weeks. I can't jump on the scale tomorrow. I mean, I will. It's just a habit of mine. But I'm not going to make a dietary manipulation based on what my scale says tomorrow. I'll follow my plan. Now, the reason why is because for most people, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for your body, for you to see a difference based on the manipulation that you made. So, I mean, I would say the most aggressive manipulators, of their body are bodybuilders, and many times, unless they're like within the last 7 to 10 weeks, when they're 20 weeks out, when they're 26 weeks out from their event, because they start cutting that far out, sometimes they'll say, hey, follow this one plan for the next month or the next 3 weeks, and then tell me how you do. So that's a really important thing to look at is, hey, did I give myself enough time of consistency to get the result that I want? Really important. So this is awesomeness right here, and it's done and it's really quick. So I wanted to just kind of, introduce that concept of no matter what manipulation you make. I know some people that already, hey, I like a low carb situation, or I like a moderate. I think most people do well with a moderate amount of carbs in their diet, a good amount of protein, and a fairly low to moderate amount of fat. Most people do that. The specifics, is really about individual to the individual, so I don't want to throw numbers out there and people try to follow that right to the point. But most people do well with all 3 macronutrients. Now, if you're a diabetic and you have a high A1C and we need to cut that down, or you have high cholesterol and have high triglycerides, if you have a fatty liver, if there's some things that are really specific to you, then we're looking at more fine-tuning. But for many people, there are some simple algorithms that they can use and see a measure of success. So that's really important to note that you do need all 3 in there. But for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to cut mine fairly low, but I'm going to keep my calories up, and my energy will be a good indicator of how well I'm doing. So like today I worked out, had a lot of energy in my workouts, and I made some modification from there. Now for me personally, I have to look at strength and energy, because if you have like different challenges, from like a thyroid perspective, energy is not the best indicator. So because I do have that, underacting thyroid, then the battle of energy is a daily thing. If I got to take my multis, I got to take my medication, I got to do certain things in order to keep me, at a certain place. So I'm not going to use that as my measurement, but my strength is fairly consistent throughout the day, and my ability to focus, get things done. If I find myself dipping, I'll bump up a little bit. And whenever you manipulate your diet some, especially if you're eating a lot of sugar, which you shouldn't. I don't care what kind of diet you're on, or where you are. So whether you're in what we call homeostasis, trying to stay the same, or you're trying to grow, or you're trying to cut, a lot of added sugar in your diet can cause disease processes. So it's more than just getting calories in. It's really being conscious of, am I getting good quality food in, especially as I'm cutting. And I watch people all the time. They're making this smoothie and they're putting in apples and pineapples and mangoes, and I'm thinking, man, you're putting in sugar. It's no much different than buying a soda. So just being really, really conscious of how am I doing that really helps. But if I drop my calories too low, too fast for too long, which is about 4 weeks for a lot of people, then my metabolism will slow down. Right around the 3-week mark, your body is going to try to find a sweet spot. So we like to manipulate people's meal plans every 2 to 3 weeks, so your body, kind of like muscle confusion with lifting, the same kind of stuff with nutrition. So just want to show you that real quick, share that concept. That's this idea of metabolic damage, is we don't want to drop our calories too low because we'll slow metabolism down. Once we kind of get frustrated with that and start eating regularly, then what happens is it's excess now. So to give you an example as I wrap up, let's say you start with a 2,000 calorie intake, and you decide you're 5'2", you're a female, you're 180 pounds. You know, you say, man, I need to cut weight. So you decide, hey, I'm going to drop my calories down to 1,500. But you haven't really changed your weight in a period of time. So when you drop your calories down to 1,500, then you lose weight. It's simple math, right? You start losing weight. But while you're losing weight over time, so is your metabolism slowing down. And what most people do is when they stop losing weight around that 4 to 6 week mark, they say, hey, what I need to do is drop my calories again. So I drop it down to 1,000. Then I start losing a little bit of weight again, and I plateau. So a month and a half in, I'm maybe down 8 to 12 pounds, and I'm frustrated. I can't lose weight anymore. I'm really tired, and I'm sick and tired of depriving myself from all the things that I really, really want to eat. So I go back to my regular lifestyle. And then, because my metabolism is low, my calories are higher, what I start doing is I start gaining. And normally we kind of go a little bit above where we started, you know, and now I'm back to my my 180 or whatever the situation is. So the goal is to make minor changes enough that it can sustain over time. And what you'll see me do over the next couple of weeks, so I'll give you my update every Monday. I'll say, hey, this is what my weight was, this is what my body fat percentage is, and so you'll be able to kind of gauge. But what I will do more than cut calories is I'll manipulate my macronutrients. So it's really cool how your body works from a hormonal standpoint. That, you know, I know I'll definitely not get under 2,100 calories, so I won't go from 25 to 21. I'll stay above 2,100, probably above 2,200, and I'll lose this 8 pounds just by moving my macros around. So I want to share that with you. It's definitely something to consider and learn about. And then tomorrow I'll talk about how to reverse diet. If you have dieted over time and your calories are really low and you're figuring, how do I get back so I'm at a healthy place from a metabolism standpoint, that's what we'll discuss tomorrow. So again, really excited to chat with you guys. I'm Evans here at Senior Fit. If you didn't do your morning prep or you don't have time to do it tomorrow morning, take the 15-20 minutes, knock it out at night, and then in the morning, just grab and go, and you'll be good to go. So love you guys. Look forward to seeing you soon. Make sure you make tomorrow a great day. Wake up early, ready to make it happen. And I'm Evans at Senior Fit.